I'm Patti Mohr. I'm here with Ernesto Rodriguez. Ernesto is a writer for various publications, including the Global Economic Report. Today, we are talking about a very significant event that just happened in South America. Colombia had a runoff election and elected a new president. Ernesto, tell me a little bit about Gustavo Petro and why this, well, before we get to the why this is significant, just give me a little bit of background about this runoff election.
So let's talk Gustavo Petro then. So Gustavo Petro was, first he's the first leftist president to ever govern Colombia. When Colombia has been always a center-right or right country. They never before choose somebody for the left. So that in itself is important enough. But Petro is also someone that was part of one of the many guerrilla that Colombia had back in the 70s, 80s. Basically, all of the second half of the 20th century, Colombia had an on and off guerrilla problem and a civil war almost sometimes, and he was part of that. So it's really surprising to see him getting to the presidency. That being said, Petro has been part of the political scene in Colombia for a while now. He's a senator, he was a mayor, this was his third time trying to get to the presidency, and this time he won. He served a wave of discontent in the country that ended in the big protests that we saw the last couple of years against the Iván Duque government. And what we are seeing in the whole continent of people not liking the institutions or the traditional leaders, and he ride that wave to the presidency, and he's going to be president for the next 4 years.
Okay, you have written this year. You wrote a couple of stories for the Global Economic Report. One was on relationship between Colombia and Venezuela, looking at the past, and the other one was this one, looking at the continent, all of Latin America actually, and 2021, 2022, the current year. And you noted in that article, there's a market shift left and for the continent. A lot of the political figures, a lot of the politics is going left. And for Colombia, the United States' strongest partner in South America, to elect a left-wing politician, it is very significant. He's 62-year-old. It's the first time, like you say, for Colombia to elect somebody not just center left, but further along than that. What is the significance for the continent?
Well, I mean, first, it's probably gonna be the harder map for the United States to deal with in terms of South America and Latin America in general. On the whole continent, as we said, is kind of jumping to the left, and there are many leaders that have an open distrust of the United States. That's for one. Second, in terms of relations for the country, I think we're gonna see difference between that new left that we're seeing in Latin America, because I don't think that they're gonna feel as comfortable as the old left with dealing with Venezuela, Colombia, Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba, which are three countries that, while left, they are also looking more and more dictatorial. And I don't see people like Boric, or even we are seeing more and more the Argentinian left. Some of these populist left that we are seeing in the continent, because Petro has kind of marked himself with that. Like, he has defended Hugo Chavez before. As I said, he was part of the guerrillas. He has said many good things about Fidel Castro in the past. So it's gonna be probably more of a populist guy than than people like Boric or even AMLO in Mexico, who I'm not a fan of also, but he's probably more to the left than that in terms of.
Okay, so number one, there are different types of left, and that's
Yes.
very significant. You got the very, what should we call it? I think we came up with the name for the triangle of more of communist countries. Venezuela, Cuba, and now Nicaragua has joined them. Mexico sided with them, did not join the recent U.S. Summit of Americas because those countries were not invited. And now we've got Gustavo Petro as the president of Colombia, but I think, like you say, he's going to be bringing a new brand, a different brand. I do want to play a clip because it is interesting. He's saying he's going to be, this is going to be capitalism, but a different type of capitalism.
And they claimed that we were going to take away the goods of Colombians and that we were going to destroy the private property. Well, frankly, I would say this. We are going to develop capitalism in Colombia. Not because we love it. State employment, cooperative employment, whichever form it acquires, this job will have the support of a new government, because only on the basis of growing economically and producing, only on this basis will we be able to redistribute. We cannot redistribute without producing. So if we want to redistribute so that the whole society becomes more equal, we need to produce. We need to produce in the countryside, in the industry, in tourism, and to produce over the basis of knowledge.
I'm a strong supporter of capitalism. But in South America, their experience with it has been different than it's been here in the United States. He does seem to be talking about that. What are your thoughts? You're originally from Venezuela.
Yes, I think there are two things that you need to take into account. We need to take into account. One is that in many parts of South America and Latin America in general, the word capitalism has been used by a brand of the left to talk about the system that the United States had, especially in the second half of the 20th century, of kind of controlling the leaders there, and in some places even helping dictatorships stay in South American countries like Chile's Pinochet or República Dominicana's Trujillo. Like, those guys were supported by the United States because they were enemies of communism, so they led them there. And many people are using the word capitalism in politics in South America and Latin America as a synonym to that. It's not. I will like to make clear that I don't think capitalism is dictatorship, but when you see many politicians talk about capitalism, it's that what they're talking about. Second, I think what Petro is doing here is a smart thing, because in many ways what we see that happen in Venezuela and what people in many countries in Latin America, because there are many Venezuelans around Latin America, are talking about how Chavismo destroyed capitalism and ruined the country. And so you cannot sell yourself in places where there are too many Venezuelans as an anti-capitalist anymore. I think we ourselves have made that hard. So I think that's what Petro is trying to do, to distance himself from the economic policies of Chavismo in terms of speech. We'll see what he does in terms of governance. His economic program is really kind of hard to do, the one thing that I need to applaud about his economic program is he wants to make the country leave fossil fuels, which I think is important. But I think that's gonna be the interesting part, right? See if he governs like progressive or like how Chavismo has done.
Okay.
For Venezuelan, seeing a guy that defended Chavez, that I'm trying to lead that part of the conversation, but for me personally, seeing a guy that defended Chavez, that has ties with the guerrillas in Colombia, get to a presidency is kind of scary, but we could be surprised, and hopefully we'll be.
Well, you and a lot of people, you are now in Europe. You're in Madrid, Spain, which is
Yes.
wonderful. I do a lot of people from Venezuela who fled the very totalitarian government there moved to Colombia. So I think that's what you're talking about there. The Colombia now has a lot of people who fled the worst of one of the worst of communist government. But Petro's style, it will be going forward. Will be very interesting to watch. I think your instincts were right on to bring this up. It's a big country. It's the fourth largest in South America, and I think you're right. I think this is he's one to watch. I don't know much about what his economic policies will be at this point. I know the Biden administration is taking a cautious approach. They've welcomed it. They've said, I mean, I wouldn't say welcome it, but they've said, congratulations, it was a free and fair election, and they're being cautious. So, but then also Vladimir Putin also congratulated him. So it's going to be the continent. I think you are so right to focus on Latin America because it's very significant as the world reshapes. And I'm going to wrap it up, but I'm going to give you the last word on Gustavo Petro.
So well, when we talk politics, I try to keep myself objective. I do have to say, as a Venezuelan and as somebody that deal with Chavismo and escape from it, Gustavo Petro does scares me a lot. Like the fact that he's been in the guerrillas for a while, the fact that he has, when he was in the guerrillas, tried to take power by arms. That's what the guerrillas in Colombia were doing, and the fact that he had a close relation with Chavez, like he has many things of the people that I don't trust in government.
Okay.
And he does scares me and worries me a lot. I do think he will be, if he does bad, he won't be able to keep himself in power after 4 years. I don't feel the Colombian institutions are going to be as easy to dismantle as the Venezuelan ones were. Well, they weren't that easy, but but I think, yeah, he does worry me a lot.
But as we've seen in many countries, people can be elected in free and fair elections, and then they can change the system and maintain their hold on power. So hopefully that's not the route, but we don't know. So I'm going to close it there, but thank you so much.